What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Wandavision Episode 3 breakdown, recap, and review. Oh boy, was that a trippy episode that introduced new characters and more hints about what the heck is going on outside that there bubble and inside the bubble. If you enjoyed the video, then a like would be super appreciated, and please do subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video. Now we open with a brand new intro as we head into the 1970s with a very, very cool opening that sets the scene, and while the plot of WandaVision is wildly different from the Brady Bunch, there are some core values there such as family, kids, and having a few of them. The hexagonal portraits showing bits of the episode and the cast were very similar to the iconic family sitcom. Other Brady Bunch homages were the clearly fake sets, the swing set in the garden, and in the intro, and the way the stairs are positioned. However, Hexagons, the show has them in spades. They were featured extensively in the last two episodes, and again here, they were heavy, man. This could be references to Wanda's hex powers that she had in the comics. The idea is that the 6 sides represent the devil due to the infamous 666. No, I'm not talking about the stunning Iron Maiden song, man, I'm talking about the devil. And hexagons are like beehives, hence that beekeeper last week. However, in the promo for an upcoming episode, it does seem like he's a simple sword agent trying to get into Westview secretly, but I'll go into that more and more stuff about the next episode in my episode preview, which I should be dropping tomorrow at some point. However, with that in mind, the hexagons may also represent AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, as the AIM logo is hexagonal in the new Avengers video game. I played the beta, and really, that was it. Now, this makes sense that AIM are keeping her hostage or involved in some way, as AIM are rumoured to be thread throughout the MCU Phase 4 and may be used heavily in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania. How they return from Iron Man 3 and later Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be fun to hear. But considering the Hydra teases in the adverts throughout this season of WandaVision so far, then I think it might be Hydra itself who are behind this AIM rebuild. Why, do you ask? Well, Baron von Strucker in the comics set up Hydra to be the weapons tech arm of Hydra, and we've already had the Strucker hint in episode 2 with the Strucker watch. Yes, I know he met a grisly end, but I always thought when I was watching Age of Ultron, I thought, what else are they working on in that castle, man? I really want to see what else was going on and what happened afterwards. Now, other AIM hints include the Wentworth's department store we saw in the intro this episode, and we also saw that last episode. And there's a hint towards Deirdre Wentworth of the comics. Unfortunately, this episode leaves us with more questions than answers, as almost every character acts sus throughout the entire episode, and we even had an emergency meeting later in the episode. Also in the intro, we see Vision reading a pregnancy book, which he must have got from the library. It looks very dark, beaten, and ominous. Maybe a reach here, but it could be some sort of Darkhold style book. I mean, that was last seen in The Runaways, but yeah, maybe a reach. However, it is similar in colour to the Druid Tome, a book of immense power that was used in the Scarlet Witch comic by Wanda herself to commune with Agatha Harkness and the dead. Now, it also looks like a sort of Mephisto image or silhouette. That, again, might be more of a reach, but let me know in the comments what you think as well. Also in the intro is the repeated title name from the intro of Mary Tyler Moore, the show, as well as the bike riding from Three's Company. Yes, there was also bike riding later in the episode from everyone's favourite nosy neighbour. Yes, it's very much and reminiscent of the witch from, yes, The Wizard of Oz. Of course, the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, was foreshadowed by a woman that herself, Dorothy, saw before she went into Oz. Yes, there are some parallels there, but the video's long enough, so I won't go too much into that, but it's one to think about. We open with the payoff of the cliffhanger of last episode as we move into colour, and Wanda's belly is being checked by the doctor, and Vision seems to be perturbed at the speed at which she is progressing throughout her pregnancy. I have to say, as someone who is the partner of someone who's pregnant, I really wish it was that fast. Vision is clearly not in on what is happening in this hellish landscape of a Pleasantville life, but he's just along for the ride. I love the idea that he is someone else, but I think he's just simply been made by Wanda a la House of M. The light entertainment sitcom banter with the Doctor was hilarious, and of course, what is a 70s sitcom without a little bit of misogyny, as he says the size of the baby in the context of fruit so as not to confuse the ladies. Funnily enough, we still contextualise the size of fetuses like that today. Her pregnancy is being fast-tracked and it's 9 months early, as Vision says, which really did make me laugh. But the Doctor then has plans to head on holiday with his wife. Of course, he thinks Wanda is a ways away from full term, so he can chip off over there to Bermuda, which is, again, a reference to the Bermuda Triangle, a mysterious place where many ships and planes have gone missing, hinting at the escape theme which he was trying to do. His name is also Dr. Nielsen, a reference to the Nielsen ratings used to work out a television audience's size. But, of course, Disney and, like Netflix, are very hush-hush about their audience size. The episode was a very Truman Show, which is one of the greatest movies of all time, and if you haven't seen it, I really recommend going and checking it out. And we see people hint that you cannot leave, like they're told to say this and have people ejected from the world, like Monica Rameau. Vision then sees Herb as he is cutting through hedges, but he's gone right through the concrete wall. It's weird as he seems to be on autopilot and under somewhat of a trance, but we see him later in the episode. It's clear there's more than meets the eye in this part, as to me, it kind of looks like he's trying to cut through something. We will know once we know what this world is. Is it a projection in Wanda's psyche, creating things around her, and seeing Herb cut through the wall? Is Herb in the real world cutting into this world, contextualized to fit the warped reality? He seems to concentrate heavily on what he is doing and cutting through, but only seems to go back into character when Vision says it, but he doesn't stop. However, in episode 2, there is actually nothing there, just a wooden fence, which is a bit weird there, and it might be that Wanda is clearly controlling the reality, and once she becomes pregnant, the world falls apart because she's not really focused on creating the world, so to speak. As Vision heads inside, he sees our girl Wanda even further along and displays his super speed. It seems weird that he has the super speed. It's been sort of referenced, but it is also a flashback or a homage there to Pietro, aka Quicksilver's powers, because one of the kids are also going to have those powers. That is Tommy, aka Speed of the Young Avengers. So the Proud Papaya joke was hilarious, referencing the fruit joke at the start. And the work on the nursery, and boy, I've got to say, I wish I had Wanda's powers when I was putting my kids' nursery together last summer. The paint also says Simsa, which is a reference to Jeremy Simsa, one of the storyboard artists on the show. There's also a giraffe, which is a tenuous link to a line in a narration box in the Scarlet Witch and Vision comic, where it references how long it takes for a giraffe to actually give birth in issue 12 of volume 2 of Vision and Scarlet Witch. We'll then see one of the twins kick as she has a fluttery sensation as the butterflies on the mobile then become real. I'm not sure if it's Wanda creating this as she caused the chaos with the contractions later on, or if it's Billy who has the powers similar to his mum starting early. I did find it funny when she says that she's at 6 months, but she starts kicking, and that's usually around 4 months there. I like how they both think there's just one child, but there are twins, as we know. Hey, even Doctor Strange in the comic, who told Wanda she was pregnant, he couldn't tell that there was 2. They named them Thomas and Billy. In the comic, Wanda named Thomas after the original Human Torch, a synthezoid, which she calls Vision in this episode, which he is and is the template for Vision in the comics. But in the show, she names him Tommy as it's a strong American name. And of course, she grew up and was obsessed with the West. Her and her brother did have an eye towards America. They mentioned that in Age of Ultron. He is named after Bill Shakespeare, as Vision said, in honour of William Shakespeare. And he did indeed name him Billy, as in the final issue of the second Scarlet Witch and Vision run. His son in the Tom King run of Vision was obsessed with Shakespeare, and he also quotes As You Like It by saying, "All the world's a stage," of course hinting at this is a fake world. The kids are of course young Avengers and born of Mephisto's fractured soul, and were then sadly killed when it was put back together, something she was told by Agatha Harkness, and her mind was then wiped, but they were then reborn many years later and went on to be part of the Young Avengers. She then starts to have Braxton Hicks contractions, which are basically false contractions, which cause reality and chaos in their neighbourhood, and they think they are under attack, which we then see a really funny slapstick moment as they stand there ready to attack in the same pose as you saw on the cover of Scarlet Witch and Vision #1, which was a really nice callback. The bright light could also be soared outside the sim, but I think it tracks more as being caused by Wanda. However, she could have messed with the lights, leading to Monica to run interception on her. It was a great comedic moment too, as we cut to Dottie asking her husband if her earrings make her look fat, but the David Schwimmer lookalike does say, well, thank God. However, let's look at his newspaper as we see 2 fire hydrants added on Main Street. Typical small town journalism, except it's folded to look like 2 fire hydra added. A Hydra reference. But it also could be a reference to the 2 kids added as well. Now the whole para is out in the neighbourhood, and Vision comes back in and we get one of the weirdest parts of the episode. So Wanda mentions how Westview are so close to discovering their secret of their true identities, but Vision is starting to work everything out and does think that something's wrong. However, it skips back. There was a nice little glitch sequence, and he skips back to saying, "I know what you mean," again. Yes. Now this could be either Agnes and Mephisto messing with it, or even Wanda not wanting him to work it all out and to live in an ignorance is bliss situation, as she's only just got Vision back. But how is he back? It's evident to me that she was willed him back into existence, perhaps with the help of Agnes, but it all goes terribly wrong. A bit more in that at the later part of the video. So the glitch was a lot different than the glitch with the beekeeper last week. And to me, I think that it wasn't Wanda, because Wanda rewound it last time, and this time she seemed to have no control. Now she goes into labour as Vision flies up in the air, which really reminded me of Mork and Mindy, the iconic sitcom which would have been a better homage than the Brady Bunch in my opinion. And her waters break as well as it starts raining. Very, very Truman Show there, and it was hilarious to see as we cut to a commercial. So the 70s Brady Bunch squares are back here as we have an advert for bath soap, which whisks the woman away to have some leisure time, which is a parody of the 70s Calgon soap advert. Yes, I never thought I'd be saying those words on this channel. Now it's the same woman from the previous 2 as we see the product Hydra Soak. It's a blue bath powder soap, and this is This is a deep, deep cut, as we have a reference to Agent Coulson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when he was a history teacher in the Framework, a simulation reality. And hey, it's just like this show, but kinda not. I don't think this is the Framework, but there are some clues towards it, as there's been a lot of actors who were in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in this show. Now, Coulson, as a history teacher, thought that the blue soap was controlling the world as a Hydra pot. He had the idea that it kind of brainwashes you when you use it, which, hold on, this could be that. It could be that Hydra, in some roundabout way, are controlling everything. Clearly, Hydra are involved here, and I think behind AIM, or just one of the many factions wanting to control Wanda. But if we're realistic, it's probably just a reference to the Hydra experiments caused by Strucker on her. As the show's creators said, we would learn more of her time during these experiments, as we only saw brief ones there in a post-credit scene and in the subsequent Age of Ultron movie. Vision then rushes to get the Doctor, and we hear the stalk become real, which is very, very curious, as it appears when Monica is in the house and Wanda's powers don't work on it. Again, there is a lot of red in this show, as we see the red poof around the stalk. It's red all over Wanda. Obviously, it's her powers, and we see more red throughout, hinting at her powers, and this episode making her stronger because we see red when she uses her powers. We then see Geraldine, aka Monica, come in and talk about her day and her good news. Of course, the community has no idea Wanda is pregnant, as the fast nature of it would arouse some suspicion, but Wanda tries to hide her bump, which is again a common sitcom trope, as the farcical scene is expertly acted out by Elizabeth Olsen. And I have to say, are we going to get her siblings in the Full House version? I really hope that happens. They didn't return for the Netflix reboot of Full House, but it would be nice to see them come back, because those girls are synonymous with 90s and 80s sitcoms. Now, Geraldine is wearing blue and white, a reference to the old S.H.I.E.L.D. uniform, and fish on her out-of-sight trousers, which is a reference to her boss's name, Mr. Haddock, and proceeds to reference the weird goings-on in the neighbourhood. So it does look like what is going on is referenced everywhere, as this show is falling in on itself, and I am here for it. It seems to me that she's running interceptions. We know the signal of Wandavision, the fake reality, is being shown outside of the bubble, as we saw at the end of the episode 1, and I expect that to be Darcy, played by Kat Dennings of the Thor movies, to be the one who is watching. She realises Wanda is pregnant after discovering the nursery, which she clearly knew that was there because she knew where to look. And why would she want office supplies from Wanda when they would just have them at the office? Vision finally catches up to the Doctor, who is trying to escape this Pleasantville hellscape. Yes, Pleasantville, I adore that movie so much. But he seems to be chill about using his powers around the Doctor, which is bizarre, and Wanda finally gives birth, and well, there's a delayed second baby, which is a total shock, but it's just like the trope of a surprise second baby, and also it happened in the comics as well when Doctor Strange was helping deliver her children. The Doctor then says Monica would be a good nurse, as Wanda just shakes her head, and Vision and the Doctor leave. Now, this is where it gets creepy, and this is why I think that all 3 episodes should have been dropped at once, as it seems like a complete arc. As the Doctor says, he doesn't think he will ever get away, and small towns are hard to escape. It's the subtleness on his face seems like this small town is hard to escape because, well, he physically can't leave. Escaping your hometown is something every pop-punk band can attest to. Vision looks confused as we see Agnes and Herb act totally sus. Agnes asks if Geraldine is in the house as we cut to Monica, aka Geraldine, and Wanda, as Wanda says how her brother is Pietro and she was twins and sung a Sokovian lullaby. However, Monica similarly comes to. It looks like she snapped out of this reality and realises that Pietro was killed by Ultron. It's like she suddenly remembered a fact and she just had to blurt it out. But Agnes and Herb mention how Geraldine is new to town and has no home. Now, I personally saw that as it's saying that she's a new sword agent as well as being new to Westview, as she's come to try and get to Swanda to snap out of it. Now, Monica seems to snap back to being a citizen, and Wanda suddenly looks evil as she grills Monica on what the heck she said, and she asks her what the symbol is on her, which is, of course, the sword logo, but it also looks like an upside-down cross, yes? A reference to devil worship, anyone? Of course, that's not the true meaning, but a trope of devil movies like The Conjuring are upside-down crosses. Incorrect they may be, but they are a trope nonetheless. The facade has broken as Wanda is furious, and Herb lets slip that she came here because he doesn't finish off the sentence there. And I expect because we're all prisoners or something like that, as Agnes says, stop it. Just like the boss's wife in episode 1. And it was a shame we didn't get Kitty in the 70s episode there. But we then see Monica, aka Geraldine, yeeted out of the simulation, as we see Westview is indeed a real place. Yes, it is a real suburb, and I expect that Wanda has created this reality there, causing problems for the inhabitants. And that's why our girl, Monica Rameau, has gone in there. You see, in one of the trailers, we see Wanda in her casual wear, sitting down to watch TV. So she's most likely absolutely grieving not only her brother dying, but all of her loves of her life have died, and she's most likely created this world out of the reruns she was watching. And the aspect ratio change was stunning, and it's clear Wanda is not okay as she lies about where Geraldine went to, and Vision is suspect of her. Now, outside, we also see Monica surrounded by red energy, hinting at her comic book origins, where she gained her powers from, extra-dimensional energy. Do you see where we're going with this? As it's clearly how she's going to gain her powers and become her superhero identity, Photon, and hopefully reconnect with Carol Danvers, thus linking Sword and Captain Marvel too. Yes, that part is all theory and conjecture. But that's it for this video, so please do drop a like down below. If you enjoyed it, please do let me know in the comments and subscribe with notifications on, as these take a long time to make, and I adore making these for you lovely people. It's great to have MCU content out there. I will be doing an episode 4 preview tomorrow, and I will also have an American Gods and Kong vs Godzilla video trailer up on Sunday, Batwoman on Monday, and I'm going to try and watch Winx Saga at some point and cover that for you. But that is it. I will see you soon, and goodbye.